Well, hello again, everyone. My name is Erik Dunn. First of all, happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there watching and for listening. Um, Welcome back to another Falls Count Anywhere here on the Rhode Island Broadcasting Network. I am happy to have you guys all here with me again, especially knowing the fact this is the night before Thanksgiving. I hope everyone's getting stocked up, everyone's getting ready to go. Um, this is definitely the first holiday season that I'm able to share some love with all of you guys and be able to give you guys a lot of me, especially towards the holiday years, especially around this season. I also want to thank the man behind the scenes, Ron Rigo, for keeping things good and making me look as good as I usually do. Um, just to mention to you guys as well, the False Hunt Anywhere is live every Wednesday night at 5 on X, YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook, as well as Google, Amazon, Spotify, TuneIn, and Podbean podcasts. Um, you'll catch me, Erik Dunn, doing it every week for you guys, especially for WWE, as it is Gone Survivor. The 37th annual Survivor Series is live this Saturday night from the Allstate Arena in Chicago, Illinois. And I've got the full card ready to break down for you guys, giving you all my predictions as well. So I'll be breaking those down, but we're going to start off with a little SmackDown and Raw because of some results of last Friday night and this past Monday night that actually has put Survivor Series into a different stratosphere and questions. But before I get to all of that, I just wanted to take this time to wish you guys a very happy Thanksgiving before this goes any further. My family's actually coming in. I got some family coming in for the holiday, which is a pretty cool thing. But I will say too that if it gets a little bit noisy and you guys can't hear me that well, I don't think that'll come to an issue. Shouldn't be a problem. But if it is, then we will go from there. But I want to make sure I state for you guys that you'll be hearing me as loud as I can to make sure that you guys can hear me loud and clear. So with that being said, I'd like to inform all of you at this time that this broadcast of Falls Count Anywhere is the exclusive property of Rhode Island Broadcasting for the use of our audience, and any publication, reuses, or redistributions by anyone, it is not prohibited and is given the express consent to be shared everywhere and is greatly appreciated. So, as I mentioned to you guys earlier, WWE right now has raised some major concerns regarding who's going to be the ones to step up or who's going to be the ones to step aside. And I also want to make sure, especially guys as well, that for all that want to come and add a comment, you're more than welcome to. Please be part of this program. It'll make my life a little bit funner because I'll get to incorporate you guys into our program and into mine, and that will be a delight. But for WWE, they're not really one for keeping surprises that well because of the rumors going around regarding CM Punk, and we'll get into that towards the second half. But we're gonna go from top to bottom here and go right to left. So SmackDown on Friday night confirmed the I believe the co-main event of Survivor Series, and that was the second War Games match between the women. And what happened was Damage Control, they issued a challenge for War Games, right? And they all brawled, and it was 5-on-4. And it looks to me that the EST, Bianca Belair, the Queen, Charlotte Flair, were trying to find a fourth member because apparently it was 3-on-4. And then Street Profits, they knocked off the Brawling Brutes and Pretty Deadly in a tag team title #1 contenders match. So Street Profits will be taking on Judgment Day. And then going down the line here, LA Knight, he interrupted Paul Heyman as he was bragging about Solo's victory over Cena, and he vowed to make the bloodline cease to exist, and he knocked off Jimmy Uso. And then a 2-on-1 from Uso and Solo made the American Nightmare, who was supposed to be on Raw, Cody Rhodes, came over to SmackDown to make that happen. And then general manager Nick Aldis had to send him out the door and show him the door. But then I called this the rumor that I wanted to be true. Becky Lynch, the man, one of the greatest women's champions in the history of WWE and in this industry period, returned to even the score and even the odds. So it is now 4-on-4 for the women's War Game match at Survivor Series. You now have got Shotzi, the Queen Charlotte Flair, the EST Bianca Belair, and the man Becky Lynch, all on the same side to face Damage Control. That, to me, you have to understand how happy I was. Like, I said, it's going to have to be Becky. Who else is Charlotte going to call? I mean, you guys go back to NXT days. Think of the four horsewomen. It was Charlotte, Becky, the Boss, Sasha Banks, and Bayley. 3 out of the 4 will be at War Games. 2 of the most unlikely to get along now, Charlotte and Becky, are going to coexist with Bianca. Now, we all know the rivalry that both of them had with her. I mean, we're looking at 3 of the greatest women's champions to ever be in WWE. And for Shotzi, for her, that's just a bonus. Because what she's going to get out of it is hopefully Damage Control falling. But I'll talk about that when I get to my predictions later on with that. But getting over to Raw from this past Monday night. Now, I explained to you guys last Wednesday that when Drew McIntyre, at the end of last week's Raw, joined forces with the Judgment Day, what was going to happen? Cody was going to have to make a phone call. But the problem with Cody is, who's going to make the call? Because the problem with Cody is that when it comes to who is he going to trust, what the hell is he going to do, everything that he had to do for WWE is, who is he going to contact? Who's going to be that 5th member for going into Survivor Series? Because the problem is, you basically had to kill the rumor that CM Punk was going to return by bringing this guy in. Now, I'm not saying that CM Punk may not go in. I'm just making a point right now that for Punk, however, everything makes sense for WWE, but not from the sense of like, okay, what the hell are you going to do? Because the problem with CM Punk is, I don't think it's been confirmed right now, and it's just a rumor going around that Punk is going to return back to WWE, but here's what I do know for sure that has been confirmed. So in the beginning of Raw on Monday night, McIntyre came out and explained why Jay and Cody lost the titles because of him. He explained why he cost them the tag team titles. And then he explained why he would join forces with Judgment Day at War Games. And that would force Cody, Jay, Sammy, and Seth to find a 5th member for Survivor Series. So that was the beginning promo of that. And then Nia Jax defeated Raquel Rodriguez. That was a squash. Becky Lynch defeated Xia Li. That was a squash in my eyes. And then after the match, everybody with Damage Control emerged and excited a pre-War Games brawl. And then going on down the line here, Tegan Nox and Natalya became the #1 contenders for the women's tag team titles. And then this one was a delight to see. Gunther got skull-crushed finale'd by The Miz after a very vile confrontation that had these two eyeing each other up before their match at Survivor Series on Saturday. And then Shinsuke Nakamura defeated Chad Gable. That's fine. But then it was the ending. So this was McIntyre and Jay to gain the advantage of War Games. So what happened was Future Shock DDT off the second rope that made Jay lose. But it was after that that caused the confusion. Because seconds after that, a post-match attack on Uso by the Scottish Psychopath and Judgment Day was answered by a brutal chair assault from Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, and Sami Zayn. And as his team stood tall in the ring, Rhodes revealed that the Apex Predator, Viper, and Legend Killer Randy Orton is going to return to WWE on Saturday to compete in the match for War Games. Now, before we go to the break here, believe me when I tell you, this was the best thing that they could have done. Because the truth is, everybody had a hunch that Randy was going to return to Survivor Series on Saturday, but on the same token, it's not a rumor. It's not a rumor that's going around whatsoever regarding Survivor Series, regarding Randy. Randy, in my eyes, was planned on Survivor Series. It's been 18 months since his back fusion surgery that when you think about the situation, you're like, okay, what the hell is going on? Okay, so when's Randy going to come back? It's awesome now, right? So Cody at the end of at the end of the show, Cody makes the announcement that Randy's coming back to WWE and he's going to join as the fifth and final member for Survivor Series. Think about that. The problem with that is, and this is what I'm going to tell you about it. At the end of that, after Cody announced it, if you looked on the live broadcast of Raw and you looked at the left side of your screen, of your TV screen or of your app if you're watching it on USA, Jay looked petrified for his life. Here's what I'm talking about. Jay knew that something bad could happen to him. Because don't forget, it was because of the bloodline that was why Randy had to have that back surgery. It was because of the bloodline that Randy was out for 18 months. And believe me, I've followed Randy's career for a very long time. Randy is not the kind of guy that's going to let a grudge go, especially if those riders in the back have anything to say about it. I don't want him to turn on Cody because I think that them reuniting is a great thing, but let's not forget, Randy's got a very bad history with Seth, going back to the Authority. Randy's got a bad history with Sammy when he was with the Bloodline, and then you all know what happened with Jay. Randy's got some unfinished business with Reigns, too. So here's my concern about it is, the prediction I'm going to make going into my predictions for Survivor Series is after that match is over, I'm going to make a second prediction. That match is going to have a third prediction as well, so I'll explain that to you guys when we come back from that. But it is awesome that Randy's coming back to Survivor Series. Here's why I'm excited, knowing that Randy's going to come back. So this is where things are going to get a little bit dicey for me when I think about Randy, because when it comes to his career, he's always been a gamer. He's been just a full-blown thoroughbred workhorse. In my eyes, Randy's been WWE. Now, say what you want about Reigns, how great his title reign is, but he's had fewer defenses in the, 1,300 days he's been champion than, how many have we seen? Yeah. I think I gave like a crazy stat that when Hulk Hogan's reign of champion was like 1,100, 1,200, 1,300 days, he had like 450 title defenses. Reigns doesn't even have 25% of that. Like, Reigns is not a fighting champion. They're just dragging this thing out because they're looking for someone to knock him off. You know what I mean? Like, it's just getting ridiculous. So with that being said, with all this now, So with that being said now, we need to take our first break, our only break, and when we come back, I'm going into Survivor Series, because as I mentioned to you, I'm going to break down some ideas I got about Randy's return after the break, and on top of that, the full card of Survivor Series, which I need to give you guys in full detail to explain to you what's going on, because from what I understand about Survivor Series is, the rumor about CM Punk right now is still going around. I still have to explain to you guys what's happening with all of that. So the card of Survivor Series, my opinion of how the whole matches, how the matches will go, how I think it's going to go, and what I think the aftermath is going to be from those matches is going to be when we return from this break. And during this time, as I'm gathering up the rest of my materials for you, if there's any indications of what SmackDown and Raw occurred with, I have no idea what I think is going to happen with SmackDown Friday night, but what I do know with Friday night SmackDown for this week is there's going to be a brawl with everybody. But could we potentially see Randy come back before the night before the event? I have no idea. Do I think it could happen? We'll find out. So I'll be breaking all of this down for you guys after this quick word from whatever we have for you guys now in a word from our Rhode Island broadcasting station. You're watching False Count Anywhere here on the RIB Broadcasting Network, and Erik Dunn is here with you guys for the next second half after this, and I will be right back. Well, it was exactly, I think, 75 seconds, so that was pretty cool. Welcome back to False Count Anywhere. So yeah, so that's gonna be our new break, and that was pretty cool to see that all the shows advertised for basically the whole company. That was like Ron giving like a proud dad moment away, because I mean, let's face it, Rhode Island Broadcasting was his creation. It still is, and I'm just grateful to be a part of it. I really am. And I want to take this opportunity to say this too, before I go into the card of Survivor Series. Thanksgiving, what's the there's two words to that. But what's the first word of Thanksgiving? It's thanks. Thankfulness. No matter how little you may have, it's something that's better than nothing, and it's one more thing than most. My advice to everybody out there is gratitude and thankfulness, especially for a holiday like Thanksgiving. That thankfulness on Thanksgiving is you survived another year and you're gathering with the family at the table. We the people. You know what I mean? Like, think about this for a second. No matter how tough things may get for you, think about this. There's some people that can't actually celebrate Thanksgiving because they're either dead, serving overseas, or they're stuck working it. So, believe me when I tell you, I'm counting my blessings no matter how little or how many I may have, no matter how little they are. I'm counting them. Because Thanksgiving and Christmas to me are holidays that should be familyed and should be oriented when it comes to families. But when so many people are working those holidays and they're serving overseas, they don't get to celebrate with their families. They just pray that they can be back in their own beds and be back in their own house one night. So Thanksgiving is the one holiday that I look at besides Christmas that is supposed to be about gratitude. It's supposed to be about thankfulness and humbleness for yourself and for those that can't even celebrate their own that they can't even celebrate the damn holiday with their own family. So I want to express this too, that during the rest of our time here on False Count Anywhere, let us know your thanks. And I also want to give a special shout out to Kenny, Shakira, James, Eric T, and Sarah, as I'm sure those are people that Ron wanted to give out to. And I want to make sure that I express to all of you that please send your comments in. Send them in. Show some gratitude. You know what I mean? Definitely explain what you're happy about. And also, I'm thankful for WWE. I'm thankful that I've not only been a fan of it since I was 15, 16, but I got to really understand what World Wrestling Entertainment is and what it was before it was, when it was the World Wrestling Federation. Believe me when I tell you, I am grateful for the opportunity that I get to be a fan of this company, and I get to break this down for all of you. So with that being said, Survivor Series. Let's dive right in and let's break all this down for you all right now. Survivor Series. Now, I also want to express this too. There is somebody that should be a Survivor Series, but he isn't due to the fact that he just had knee surgery. And speaking of surgeries and family, I also want to give a special thank you to Mr. X Jr., who is also a part of this program as well. I haven't heard back from him yet in a while. Hope his help with his father is going well as well. But there's a guy that should be on the card of Survivor Series, but he isn't because of a knee surgery, and that is Hall of Famer Rey Mysterio. There is still no timetable on when he is expected to return. My estimation is a good 4 to 6 months of rehab, I believe. But in his place is Carlito, Caribbean Cool. So let me explain all this to you right now. So with the Hall of Famer Rey Mysterio sidelined due to his injury, Carlito will step up and take on Santos Escobar because of his shocking actions towards the LWO. Because after Mysterio lost the U.S. title to Logan Paul at Crown Jewel, he accused Escobar of costing him the match intentionally, and moments later, he seemed to confirm Carlito's suspicions by attacking the LWO, leaving Mysterio down and injured after drop-kicking the steel steps into his leg. Now, these two stars will square off in the bitter grudge match with more than just bragging rights on the line. So I'm picking Carlito to win that one, and I hope he wipes his ass right out. That's one. Because I believe for the matches we have, there is 5 on the card. All right, so number 2, it is the women's match. Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, and Shotzi. I'm picking them to win. I want Judgment Day to finally drop down. So thanks to the surprise emergence of Becky Lynch, the man's come around, and now the match is set. So that's number 2. Now, number 3, for the Intercontinental title, Gunther versus The Miz. Listen to this. Gunther has held the title record 531 days by the time Survivor Series hits. The Miz held it for 592 when he was champion. Only one guy's held it even longer than that, and that was Pedro Morales, the Hall of Famer, for 617 days. The A-lister, The Miz, has held the Intercontinental title 8 times, and he is 1 reign away from tying the record of Chris Jericho's 9 as champion. Let's think about this for a second. So, with The Miz being face now, do you really think that Miz could knock off Gunther, who has had a run unlike no other I've seen for the IC title? But here's the truth about it. I believe that for Miz, this is his chance to get it. Here's the problem with Miz. If this face run does not go the way it should be, it's just going to set him back even further. But I will say this too. The Miz is one of the greatest IC champions in the history of WWE. There isn't a doubt whatsoever. Miz is the perfect example of, when it comes to being a heel, if you don't like him, then he's not doing his job right. So it's kind of like, it's kind of like, you know what I mean? But I will state as well that I hope Miz wins this one. I really do. So that's 3. Now, second to last, all right, for the women's world heavyweight title, Rhea Ripley versus Zoe Stark. I think it's going to be Rhea. I'm not going to be surprised at that. I mean, Rhea has been on a dominant reign since she won at WrestleMania. I don't see her ever losing this thing unless the right person came along. If I had to pick the right people to take her out, the man Becky Lynch, the Queen Charlotte Flair, the 14-time women's champion, and the EST, Bianca Belair. Those are my 3 that should dethrone Rhea. Those are the 3 that should dethrone her. Because when you look at the situation about it, no one else is even a worthy target for Rhea. Raquel Rodriguez, that was a dud. Zoe Stark, I can't see that going anywhere. It's either Flair, Belair, or Lynch. Those are the 3. Becky, Charlotte, or Bianca. Those are the 3 that, in my eyes, should be the number 1 contenders to take Rhea out of this scene of her being champion. And now we get to the main event, the men's War Games match for Survivor Series. Now, the problem is, so with Judgment Day, for the last year, they have been running roughshod all over this show of Raw. Beatdown after beatdown after beatdown. It has to stop. But who's going to say something? The American Nightmare, the Liberator, main event, and the World Heavyweight Champion. Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, and Seth freaking Rollins. I just say Seth Rollins, okay? But seriously, you have to know this too, that the history with these four is surprising, okay? The only one that doesn't trust Jey is Seth. I mean, granted, you go back to the Judgment Day, they're in some respects. Sami even called them the Bloodline 2.0. I agree with Sami Zayn on that. That was in a promo two weeks ago on Raw. Here's the problem with this. Randy, you know, I kind of look like Randy as someone that kind of has some of the traits of Stone Cold Steve Austin, and that's DTA. Don't trust anybody. I don't think Randy trusts as many. I dare say the only person Randy could probably trust in this match, besides Cody, might be Seth, because they both were in the Authority together for a little bit of time. But Cody's really the only one I'm going to say he can really trust in War Games. I'm not going to say the other three he can't, but I mean, time's going to tell as we watch it on Saturday, right? So as we watch it, we will go from there. But I'm just going to say the rumor with CM Punk right now. There is no way in hell that we're going to see him. As much as I want him in WWE, I don't think there's any chance in hell Punk is even going to show up. I don't think Punk's even going to get signed. And I also want to state this too. This is the 37th annual Survivor Series. 37 years. Think about that. Survivor Series, 37 years. How special is that? 37 years of Survivor Series. And you know what? Think about this too. Here's my prediction for after the men's War Game match. If Cody wins, Cody, Seth, Jey, Sami, and Randy, if they win, here's my prediction. Randy could turn on them. Which one? My money would be on Jey. My money would be on Jey. Because the problems with the bloodline from the past is going to potentially spill over. Guys, go back on YouTube. Find when Cody made the announcement of Randy coming back. Look at Jey's face at the corner of the left side of your screen. He looked petrified for his life because he knows that WWE's Apex Predator is coming back on the hunt. And Randy doesn't forget a prey that he once targeted or a prey that targeted him. Especially when it was the bloodline that almost cost him his career. 18 months of a back fusion surgery recovery and rehab. Payback's a bitch. Just know that. Okay? It is. And believe me, War Games, I'm looking forward to it. But also, here's the truth about it too. Okay? Seth has never been in War Games. Neither has Randy. Neither has Cody. Sami and Jey were in War Games last Survivor Series when they were part of the bloodline. Sami and Jey, they're going to get along. Cody, Sami, and Jey, They're going to get along. Seth's probably not going to get along with anybody except Sammy, but he'll coexist with Cody. Go back to what happened on Raw Monday night. Cody looked at Seth and said, "We don't have to like each other forever, okay? It's just for one night we have to coexist." Do I think they will? We will wait and see, but that's my hope. Next week's broadcast, I'll be breaking down Survivor Series, giving you the entire card, and giving you the results of my predictions. So on behalf of everybody at False Count Anywhere, Mr. X Jr., my dad Edward Dunn, who's just about to walk out of my house, wrestling promoter Tony Jones, and the man behind the scenes, Ron Rigo. This is Erik Dunn saying so long, and thank you from my home in Bridgewater, Massachusetts, and I wish everybody out there a very happy Thanksgiving. This has been another presentation of False Count Anywhere here on the Rhode Island Broadcasting Network. Next week, guys, we return the page into December. Survivor Series will be over, and I'll have the aftermath with SmackDown and Raw going forward. But, guys, until then, please be good to each other. Be safe. This is Erik Dunn saying so long. And once again, from all of us at RIB, a very happy Thanksgiving.